LinkedIn believes B2B marketing can be B2 brilliant, B2 bold, and B2 breakthrough. How? With a platform purpose-built to make B2B marketing mean more for your business. A platform with tools to help you build better relationships with your key customers, to boost your buyer's journey while building your brand. A platform with trusted data and lead generation you need to beat your KPIs, drive ROI, and stand out amongst the competition. And with the targeting tools on LinkedIn, you can reach your precise audience right down to their job title, company name, location, and more to make sure your ads are always seen by those who matter. So let's get ready to B2 boldly go where no marketer has gone before, because LinkedIn is where B2B is everything it can be. Rethink your B2B marketing ads and get $100 credits on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply. Entrepreneurs Enigma is a podcast for the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. So the wins and the fails that we all face being entrepreneurs, how we learn from adversity. Every week I talk to a different entrepreneur with a story to tell. I'm Seth Goldstein. Come with me on the journey. This is Entrepreneurs Enigma. Let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Entrepreneurs Enigma podcast. Today I have a good buddy of mine, Sara Loretta. She is a Notion extraordinaire. She is actually, you're number 40 of the Notion expert certified people?
I'm 10th in the United States and 40th in the world.
Ooh, we got a celebrity here,
Very proud
folks.
of those numbers.
You're 10th in the United States. That's awesome. And you got me back into Notion, and I'm loving it. It's fantastic.
That's awesome.
And you also have Notion for Designers OS.
Mm-hmm.
I found the things that I like out of it, and I'm starting to build my own based on yours, so that I know what I need. And Notion's so much fun.
I love the potential that it has for people. Yes. But it also can get very overwhelming very quickly, which is why I build the systems for people that I do to really just put them back in a box, because Notion is like opening up a genie's portal.
It's like handing someone a piece of paper and saying, here you go. And it's like, well, you could do anything with a piece of paper.
Yep.
And it's an advanced piece of paper is what it is. You can do anything you want on this thing. Even stuff that you can't do in traditional paper, you can do in here. It's databases and algorithmic formulas. And I'm like, oh my God.
Embed Figma files, embed Loom videos. You can do literally everything except collect payment. You have to get something else to do that. But yeah, Notion's the wild west of the internet right now, and I'm so obsessed with it.
So I know Sara from a mutual friend, colleague, Jay Klaus, who at this point when this comes out will have already been on the podcast. And he has the lab over at Career Science. And so we met through there, and we've been fast friends, and it's a lot of fun.
We have.
Exactly.
It's a good time in our communities and on Twitter. And
Twitter.
Yeah, it's been really fun to get to know you for sure.
Let's talk more about you, less about me. But so who is Sara?
Oh gosh, I'm a coffee addict.
Very wide open question.
Yeah. So I am obviously a freelancer. I started my business 5 years ago. Next month, I think, is the anniversary. But it's funny because I never actually set out to be an entrepreneur, and I very much am a multi-passionate millennial, if you will.
Multi-passionate millennial. I love that phrase.
Yeah, for the last couple of years, people have really told me to not embrace it. And, you got to pick a path, you got to pick a niche, you got to do all these things. But I'm very much a yes person. And I think that's kind of how I've stumbled into this, because I actually started my career by doing AmeriCorps, couldn't afford college. And so I moved cross country to teach science, STEM, robotics, K through 5. Said yes to that opportunity and just kind of let that take over my life. And so from there, I said yes to working at a nonprofit. Then I said yes to doing video production and doing some local initiatives with PBS. And then it turned into me doing video and web design for partners. And then
That's
before I knew it,
awesome.
I had 40 clients in a
Holy
3-month
crap.
period. And here I am, and I've never looked back.
It's amazing you blink and
Um,
it's like, holy crap, how did I get here?
yeah.
That's
Yeah, and
awesome.
it's interesting because now, for those of you who probably don't know me, I had a design agency and things were
Mhm.
going excruciatingly well.
Excruciating.
But
Well, I love that 'cause it's so true.
excruciatingly well. I was burnt out, and I just happened to post a YouTube video about how I managed clients on Notion that took
Mhm.
off. And I had someone out of Ireland email me 8 times to
Wow.
build their Notion account out.
Why 8
And that
times? Was
was,
it mainly
I
because
just
you
kept
said no?
saying no.
You said, "Oh,
Yeah,
there's
I
some
just
no's in
kept
this in
saying
these
no.
yeses." You're like, "No."
Yeah, I was really, I think it was a kind of imposter syndrome because I
Mhm.
never want to tell people how to, like, what's wrong or what's right about their
Mhm.
processes. But I started recognizing last summer that it's not necessarily that you're doing something wrong. It's that most of us as solopreneurs are so just tunnel visioned into our own
Mhm.
business. And it's really helpful to have an outside person who's not a customer give you
Yes.
feedback on those processes.
Heck,
And
sometimes even the customers are giving you feedback on the processes is
yes,
very
I've definitely learned, and this is a piece of feedback I can give anybody, is to not be afraid of that feedback. All
No,
it is
embrace it.
constructive criticism. But yeah, and then that was last summer, and I did a couple other builds. And then Notion came to me in January
Wow.
to go through their certified consultant program, or I guess process, if you will, because I had to
Mhm.
submit case studies and do a build exercise and all of these things. And then I shut my design business down in April, and we've
Wow.
been doing Notion and digital operations full time since.
And it's going well.
It's going very well. Yeah. I'm actually working on launching a signature program that's going to come out in November. That's really going to take that ideal that I just talked about of your processes matter. You've worked really
Yes.
hard to build them. Let me help you make them better. And so I'm taking a step back from solely running Notion full time and allowing my space to welcome people who use things that aren't Notion. Because I think a lot of people feel invalidated when they're not using something that's shiny and pretty and popular.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, so we're going to launch Systems is what it's called. Systems without the E. But
Exciting.
outside of work, I am a coffee addict, a proud dog mom.
Yeah.
I have over 200 houseplants,
Oh my
and that takes
God.
up the majority of my time.
200 houseplants.
Yeah, I broke 200 plants a couple of weeks ago. So
That's a project.
it's insane. It takes about 2 hours once a week to water everything.
Oh my
So
goodness.
and that's all I do. That's what fills
Take
my
care of your
time.
dog and water your plants.
Yes, yes.
That's hilarious. And playing
I
Notion.
know.
That's fantastic. So you've been
Yep.
an entrepreneur for a while. What is the best thing about being an entrepreneur versus being in the grind or in the in-house grind?
God, I don't even know. Well, I think for me, being in the nonprofit space for almost 10 years, there was so
Yeah.
much politics behind it and so
Yeah.
much consistent change. When you're supposed to have a team that's consistent, there was so much inconsistency
Yeah.
that really stressed me out. The nonprofit I worked at, I think it was 2017, we
Mhm.
went from a team of 62 employees to a team of 11 in a
Oh my
matter of
God.
7 months. And I ran 3 departments on my own, and it was just a lot. So I think
Mhm.
now, I love that there's constant change and we're working with different clients at a time throughout the year. But it's on my own terms. I can dip out or set timelines that make me feel comfortable rather than
Absolutely,
the
yeah.
change kind of smacking me in the face, which I don't do well with. So I think that's my favorite part, is not being in the politics and being able to dip out when I can.
Yeah, peace. I need a break.
Yes.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so what's the scariest thing about being an entrepreneur? What keeps you up at night?
Oh gosh. So I definitely did not come from a financially secure family. For those of you who know me or don't know me, I have a parent who's federally incarcerated
Oy.
for partial money laundering and
Ooh.
embezzlement, and like all these things. And so I just grew up in a not very financially healthy environment.
Mhm.
And so I think that's something that definitely I work really hard, is getting out of this survive and into thrive mode, getting out
Yeah.
of fight or flight, and really knowing that I'm always planting seeds, and what's meant to come will come. And,
No pun intended. Plant
no
lady.
pun intended,
Plant
right?
lady.
I don't plant seeds, so
Oh,
like
there you go.
myself, but it's fine. Not great at propagating. But, I think that's the biggest thing is, really just being mindful of the opportunities I'm taking. And I have a team that I'm responsible for. We're a team of 4.
Oh, wow.
And so really being mindful of, making the right, smart decisions to take care of everybody. That's what keeps me up at night. I'm too pretty to go to prison, y'all. I'm too pretty to go to prison.
There you go. There you go. Don't go to prison. Make sure you stay up at night and do the things you need to do. We're going to take a quick break, hear from our sponsors, and get right back to the show. LinkedIn believes B2B marketing can be B2 brilliant, B2 bold, and B2 breakthrough. How? With a platform purpose-built to make B2B marketing mean more for your business. A platform with tools to help you build better relationships with your key customers, to boost your buyer's journey while building your brand. A platform with trusted data and lead generation you need to beat your KPIs, drive ROI, and stand out amongst the competition. And with the targeting tools on LinkedIn, you can reach your precise audience right down to their job title, company name, location, and more to make sure your ads are always seen by those who matter. So let's get ready to B2 boldly go where no marketer has gone before, because LinkedIn is where B2B is everything it can be. Rethink your B2B marketing ads and get $100 credits on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply. So being an entrepreneur, and there's this overarching idea of hustle culture. And what's your thought on the whole idea of hustle culture?
Oh, you're asking the wrong person because I believe in hustle culture.
No,
I really enjoy some things that Gary Vee puts out. I think that being a woman and entrepreneur in the space, if you will, has been very detrimental to me, because I am not an emotional person. There's also a lot of narrative that's been going on the last couple of years of you will be successful if you only work 4 hours a day, barely do this.
Baloney, yeah.
Yeah, but it's coming from a lot of the women that are in the space, and I just don't really believe that. I think that in order to make a long-lasting, successful business, you have to work hard at the beginning.
Oh, absolutely,
And until you really get the experience, you don't know how to automate your business. You don't know what works and what doesn't. And, coming from somebody who did the 9 to 5 while also having the side hustle, quote unquote, whatever, I worked until midnight almost every night on my business. And then I would get up, go to work 7 to 3, come home, sit back down at 5, 6 o'clock. And,
good thing you're a young millennial. I'm a geriatric millennial. I can't sit till midnight. So.
Yeah, but I think everybody learns at their own pace, and sometimes we just have to work harder. And one person's process and their mindset and mentality and what they're preaching is not going to work for you. But I do think that if you are going to hustle, you have to do it strategically, which little tag right there, that's the name of my newsletter, is the Strategic Hustling Squad. Because what we're doing is focusing on, okay, I want to work really hard, but how do I kind of cut corners, if you will? How do I automate things and work smart? I don't value the hustle side of culture where people are working in chaos and working in circles. But I think that's the misconception of what Gary Vee does, what Jenna Kutcher does. All these people is they look chaotic, but really they are a well-oiled machine.
Well, Gary,
that's how they're growing.
I've met Gary. Gary's just ADHD.
Well, sure, but he's got a full team behind him to take that AD.
Exactly.
Right.
But there's chaos there, and he embraces the chaos. Sometimes you gotta embrace the chaos. That's me.
Yeah.
I mean, there's chaos. I go every which way. Sarah has a new shiny object that she's pushing, and I'm like, I gotta get it.
Listen, I can give you a great example of Sarah working in the chaos. So last year, kind of inadvertently, I launched an offer called Website in a Week.
Ooh,
I did it I kept having clients come to me that only needed a 3-4 page website. They didn't need a whole lot of copy. They just needed to be digital. And so I launched this offer thinking, it'll just be in my back pocket. I'm not really going to sell it a whole lot. I built 27 websites 15 full brand packages and 8 Notion full builds last year
Ooh.
by myself. I did not have a team support. So you want to talk about chaos?
That's a little chaotic.
That's a good chaos. Because,
painful.
it ended up working and it sold. And, and I think that goes back to kind of the strategic part of it is you test something out, you put it into the universe. And as you're getting that feedback loop, you're hearing what your clients are saying, you're seeing the numbers come in.
Yeah.
You can then go backwards and say, okay, this is working. We want to keep it. How do we make it better? So we don't work as hard. Right. And so one of those things to move out of the chaos that I did was I started building internal website templates. And so
brilliant.
I had a new client every 10 days, but all I had to do was click duplicate on one of my Squarespace templates, pop their content in, and I was done in a matter of 8 hours. So I was banking $3,500 a week on 8 hours worth of work.
That's brilliant.
And that's what you have to do is you have to look at the data, no matter how chaotic it is, to really slow the chaos down and make it last long term.
I love it. And that's really, $3,500 for 8 hours worth of work. that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And so what is the most important thing you carry with you all the time?
Oh gosh, most important thing, like physical or mentally?
Either or both.
Ooh.
If you want to be an overachiever.
So I think mentally, I got to meet one of my idols. If y'all are into basketball or into music, there's a writer. His name is Shea Serrano. Okay. He is out of San Antonio, and he's the first Latino to have 3+ bestseller books on the New York Times. And I'm a huge fan of him. Huge fan of him. I have his illustrator, Arturo Torres. I have his art all over my office.
That's awesome.
Which, Seth, you've seen my office. You
Yes.
know all the Rocky posters. Everything is Arturo.
Other than the Rocky posters. For someone who's a Texas gal, you are very much into a Philadelphia celebrity.
I am.
Call back
it's
to
the
Philly.
Midwest in me. Being from Cleveland, it's the Midwest, but. No, so he had one day said on Twitter, send me whatever you're working on. Tweet me links to whatever you're working on. And at the time I'd been working on my thesis, and I said, I'm just gonna ship it to him.
We're gonna take a quick break and we'll get right back to the show. Hey gang, I've been listening to a great podcast that I think you need to check out. It's called Business Brain, and it's by 2 longtime business owners, Dave Hamilton and Shannon Jean. Each week, they talk through the ups and downs of running your own business and give you tips on how to be successful running that small business. In addition to Dave and Jean, you will hear from successful business owners talking about real-world problems that they face in their small businesses, letting you know you're not alone. 3 of the many topics that resonate with me are the supply chain crisis explained, action-oriented leadership, and this one really hits home, ADHD, and owning a business. So no matter where you are in your journey, Dave, Shannon, and the Business Brain community is here to help. Start engaging with them over at businessbrain.show or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. If you tell them I sent you, you'll get their book, We Love Mistakes, for free. Again, that's businessbrain.show or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
It was very much a summarized dissertation that I had turned into a blog post. Yeah. And it was about how rappers are actually historians because they're the ones covering inner city equality and changes when the mass media isn't. And that was my thesis.
Shakespeareans, yeah.
Yeah. And so I had tweeted it to him thinking, he'll never read this, whatever. He ended up retweeting me. It got me 2 different writing jobs. It was it was insane. Yeah. And so his next book had come out and he did a book signing here in Austin. And I went. And, I'm like 200 people deep in this line, right? It's just a book signing. It's not anything special. Well, I walked up to him and I said, you probably don't remember me, retweeted my work. And he looked me dead square in the eyes and goes, when you get to where I'm at, you will reach back and pull people up. And that's a really long story, but that's something I carry with me every day is how can I spend 30 seconds, 5 minutes helping someone in my vicinity? Because I don't lose anything from being a good person or offering help.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's a big thing that and my grandmother makes fun of me all the time. I was home this weekend and we were at the grocery store and I leaned over and I complimented somebody on like her shoes. And my grandmother said, you are just like, why do you do that? You know, kind of making fun of me in the sense of also jealousy that she doesn't think to, you know, just go out of her way to compliment. But so that's something. And then physical, I always have a cup of coffee in my hand.
There you go.
Always.
Well, if you know Sarah, she's got the energy.
Always.
So it comes from somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I'm the real life Lorelai Gilmore because I always have coffee in my hand. So
Well, there you go. There you go. Call back to Gilmore Girls. I think it was only in her name, but you know, go figure.
Yeah.
So
love Gilmore Girls.
Exactly.
Best show ever.
It's a good show. So where is your watering hole of choice online? Because I follow you everywhere, so not trying not to be creepy, but you know, I follow you on.
It's interesting because I've really gotten into hosting a newsletter. I've probably had my newsletter maybe 10 weeks now. I lied, 8 weeks, because I'm looking at it on my screen right now. The 8th newsletter is going out. But I really found a lot of confidence from our friend Dylan, who is also in Jay's group. And he gave me a lot of feedback on how to kind of step away from the crisp, edited, proper YouTube video and just learn how to really be raw again with my audience. And so really just my newsletter and then Twitter, obviously. I spend so much time on Twitter now.
People are like, it's toxic. I'm like, if you cultivate it properly.
Yes.
And like I have 5,000 followers on Twitter for some bizarre reason. And I follow like 5,000, but I have lists. Like I have my careers list. I have my web designers list. I have my WordPress list. Yeah, I know you're going to groan. Yeah. Sarah and I go back and forth. She's a Squarespace person. I'm a WordPress guy.
Right.
You know, go figure.
Yeah, I think I'm just kind of in this space now where I've been focused so long on we as an agency. We are doing this and not I. What am I doing? What are my thoughts? And it's been quite the Band-Aid to rip off, to not kind of have that invisible veil in front of me. But I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm starting a secret project now where I'm quote unquote building in public, but it's a private newsletter for people to be involved in us growing this new CPC membership and all these things. And I'm really starting to, I think, finally build a community where people want to talk back and aren't afraid to do so because they know they're talking to me and they're not talking to a company, so to speak.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Sarah, this has been so much fun. A long time coming. I'm so glad to have you on.
Thank you. I enjoyed being here.
We'll see everyone next week.
That was a great show. Hey, if you're enjoying Entrepreneurs Enigma, please give us a review on the podcast directory of your choice. We're on all of them. And these reviews really help others find the show. Also, if you're getting value from the show and want to buy me a coffee, go to the show notes and click on the link to help me stay awake while I bring you more great episodes to your ears. That's in the show notes, and I look forward to the next episode. Take care, guys.
Goldstein Media hopes you have enjoyed this episode. This podcast is one of the many great shows on the MPN Marketing Podcast Network.
How do we use communication to make the world a better place? I'm Dan Farkas, part of the Marketing Podcast Network. My new podcast, The Strategic Communicator, tries to answer that question. We feature industry leaders who offer tangible advice you could actually use after the show, and we'll learn about the people behind the process. Let's use communication to bring about a better planet. Subscribe today to the Strategic Communicator Podcast on the Marketing Podcast Network.
This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.